to see the slides and hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Yes,
Very
Prabhuji.
well. That
Okay.
was
Yes,
well.
Prabhuji.
Thank you. So, in the last week, we have been discussing for the many weeks actually about the process of creation, how Mahavishnu created unlimited number of universes by the combination of the 24 elements which were produced from Pradhana by glancing upon it. So then Mahavishnu enters into each and every universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and creates universal form. That was mentioned in the 6th chapter. And then the 7th chapter, Vidura had couple of questions about Jiva and the Supreme Lord, whether the Lord comes in contact with Maya or not. Maitreya Muni answers. Then Vidura asks many questions to know more details about the subject matter. So we were discussing that. Last week we briefly discussed about all the different questions asked by Vidura and to Maitreya. And today we will see a couple of verses wherein Vidura will inspire at the end why he should speak the subject matter to Vidura, for what purpose, and then what happened in the 8th chapter we will see today. So we discussed up to verse number 37, 38 last week. Anuvartanam Shishyanam Putranam cha Dijottama Anaprushtam Api Bhuya Guruvo Digna Vastala. A guru or a father, for the benefit of one's disciple or one's son, should speak what is necessary for the obedient student and son, what is meant for, what is good for their spiritual upliftment. That should be spoken by the guru or a father unto a obedient disciple or son. So I am such a obedient disciple, you are such a wonderful guru. Please, you should speak. Tatvanam Bhagavams Tesham Katida Pratisankrama Tatremam ka upashiran ka u svid anuserate. Here it says that how many types of distractions are there for the various elements. The main important thing is that who will serve the Lord after annihilation. In this world, we always do that. Everyone serving the Lord, either in the temple or in the homes, or going to pilgrimage places. Somehow or other, directly or indirectly, all of us, in one way, engaged in serving the Lord. We are able to serve the Lord because we are living and this world is existing. And Vidura is asking that when this entire world is annihilated, when there is no one around, who will serve the Lord? That indicates that this question indicates that is there something other than this world? If it is there, where it is there and how it is there and how we will be served, etc. And this question is answered in the chapter 15, where we will see that the four Kumaras entering into Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, Lord is being served by many of his attendants. So in that way, there is something called Vaikuntha in which Lord is constantly served by his associates. So this question will be answered there in that sense. So like that. Then it says that Purushasya cha samsthanam swarupam va parasya cha jnanam cha naigamam yattad guru shishya prayojanam. Says that please describe the knowledge concerning the Lord's form and Jiva's position. So please talk about the Lord and Jiva. Sambandha jnana. Without proper Sambandha jnana, we cannot execute Abhideya, without which Prayojana will not come. And the knowledge of Upanishads, Jnanam cha Nigamam. Not only Upanishads, the knowledge, the essence of all Vedic literatures, which is necessary for the student to learn from the Guru. Why would a student should approach a Guru? To study and understand the Vedic literatures and assimilate the essence of all the Vedic literatures. That is the purpose of a disciple going to a Guru. So how many disciples have come to Guru like you? So please do the needful. So like that, he made certain inquiries. And then today we'll continue from text number 39 onwards. In the next 3 verses, he will inspire Maitreya that he should speak Bhagavatam. He should speak Krishna Katha. He should speak about Bhakti. He should speak about Bhagavan. He should speak about Jiva's deliverance from the suffering material world. Why? So that is mentioned in the 3 verses. So one of you kindly unmute and repeat after me. Nimittani cha tasyeha
निमित्तानि च
निमित्तानि च तस्येह
proktani anagasuribihi
प्रोक्तानि
प्रोक्तानि
अनघसूरिभिः
swato jnanam kuta pumsham
स्वतो ज्ञानं कुतः पुंसाम्
bhaktir vairagyameva va.
भक्तिर्वैराग्यमेव वा. Translation: Spotless devotees of the Lord have mentioned the source of such knowledge. How could one have knowledge of devotional service and detachment without the help of such devotees?
Yeah. Oh Maitreya, oh Anagasuribi, oh sinless Maitreya, tell me about the causes of this knowledge as described by the devotees. Can a person attain knowledge, bhakti, or renunciation on his own? So please tell me how one can attain knowledge. Is it by one's own or by taking shelter of Guru? Knowledge about Jnana, Bhakti, and Yoga. So Jnana stands for Jnana Yoga, Bhakti stands for Bhakti Yoga, Vairagya stands for Ashtanga Yoga. How can a person can understand about Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, the different sadhanas, on their own or by some way, some means? So like that. So Maitreya might say that you yourself are intelligent enough to understand all these things. Why have you come to me? You please, you yourself find out. So before that question being asked by Maitreya, Vidura asked this question: how to attain the knowledge? What are the means to attain the knowledge? The cause for knowledge is the association of devotees. Describe this cause, which is told by the offenseless, knowledgeable devotees. This verse indicates that without Guru, knowledge is impossible. The true knowledge about Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga will come only from a Guru who is a devotee, not from here and there. So one should take shelter of a Guru, bona fide Guru, in order to attain the proper understanding of Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So like that. So you are such a Guru. So I am here taking shelter of you for understanding what is what and how to understand it. So this is how he is inspiring Maitreya. So then the next verse. Why have you asked so many questions? Maitreya asks. We are up to already a born devotee. You are son of Vyasadev. What is the need to ask all such questions? I don't think, I mean, what is the use of asking all these questions? You know everything. Why are you asking all these questions? So for which Vidura is responding. Kindly repeat after me. एतन्मे पृच्छता प्रश्नान्
एतन्मे पृच्छता प्रश्ना
हरे कर्म विविस्तया
हरे कर्मा विवित्सया
ब्रूहि मे ज्ञस्य मैत्रत्वात्
ब्रूहि मेऽज्ञस्य मैत्रत्वात्
अजया नष्टचक्षुषा.
अजया नष्टचक्षुषा. My dear sage, I have put all these questions before you with a view to knowing the pastimes of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the friend of all, so kindly describe them for all those who have lost their vision.
So Vidura is saying that, my dear Maitreya, you may think that I am asking so many questions here, there, everywhere. So kindly understand that I only want to hear about the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord performs everything that we see around us in the entire world. There is nothing independent of the Supreme Lord. With a intention of hearing about Supreme Lord, I'm asking all these questions only to hear about Supreme Lord only. Please speak. Don't find fault with me, but please speak about Krishna. So like that. Since I am ignorant, Ajnasya, having lost my sight because of Maya. Ajaya Nashta Chakshusha. I have asked these questions with a desire to know about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Please reply to these questions since you are a friend to everyone. Mitratva. You are actually a well-wisher of each and every living entity in this entire world. And I am such a fool, number one. I have lost the sight because of Maya. Being overpowered by Maya, I lost the right understanding of what is what. With a desire to hear about the Supreme Lord, I have come to you. I become your disciple. I am asking all these questions only to express my eagerness to know about the Supreme Lord. But don't find fault with me and kindly understand my eagerness to hear about the Lord and reply accordingly. So, like that, Vidura is submitting himself at the lotus feet of Maitreya Rishi. Please answer these questions which are asked only with a desire to know about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord and with an intention to understand how to serve Him. So that is the purpose with which I am asking all these questions. But please do not find fault with me. When all these questions are answered, I will have complete concentration on the Lord's service with indifference to all else. When I have my full attention on the Lord, then I can attain Him. When I hear about the Lord, I can understand about the Lord, I can meditate upon the Lord, I can serve the Lord with wholehearted surrender. That is the only reason with which I have approached you and I am asking you so many questions. Please do not find fault with me, but reply. So, like that. Bruhime here indicates speak in order to deliver me. In this way, the repetition of the word may is not a fault. So here, Etanme is there, Bruhime is there, two times the same word came. So from Sanskrit grammar, it may seem to be fault, but it is expressing is eagerness to hear about the Supreme Lord. So then, Vidura addressed Maitreya as Mitratvad, as a friend. Means that though he is the son of Mitra, he is also the friend of the whole universe. He is not Mitra because he is the son of Mitra, but he is Mitra because of his compassion towards all the living entities, because of his friendly disposition towards all the living entities. I am also one such living entity. So please exhibit your friendly nature towards me by speaking about the Supreme Lord, by which bring about my deliverance from this material existence. So like that. So this is how he is inspiring. Uh, so in this verse, he expressed his humility, and in the next verse, he expresses the greatness of a guru. Why a guru should speak about Krishna, a guru should speak about Bhakti and Bhagavan and other things. What is the reason? That will be mentioned in the next verse. And this is one of the very important verses. I like this very much personally. This may be there in your exam also. So kindly memorize this verse. सर्वे वेदेश्च यज्ञाश्च
सर्वे वेदैश्च यज्ञाश्च
तपोदानानि चानगा
तपोदानानि च नघ
जीवाभयप्रदानस्य
जीवाभयप्रदानस्य
न कुर्वीरन् कलामपि.
न कुर्वीरन् कलामपि. Translation. O spotless one, your answers to all these questions will grant immunity from all material desires. Such charity is greater than all Vedic charities, sacrifices, penances, etc.
Yeah, he's telling that, O Anaga, O sinless Maitreya, all the Vedas, all the sacrifices, all the charities, and all different variety of austerities cannot compare with a small particle of helping the jiva attain a solution to material existence. Jiva abhaya pradhanasya. Not only do I get deliverance by this, but you also gain great fame for having done such a pious act. So kindly meditate upon this verse. This is one of the important verse. He is telling that Sarve Vedescha Vedascha Yajnascha Tapo Danani Chanaga. If a person dedicated one's whole life in order to study the Vedas and teach the Vedas, or perform different types of yajnas, or execute different variety of austerities, and give away all the wealth in different variety of charities. One may do all these things together, or one of the things for the entire life continuously. But when it comes to present, Jiva Abhaya Pradhanasya, the fearlessness to a living entity, the final solution to a living entity to take the conditioned soul to the spiritual world. All these things, even though they are performed independently or together, combined together, they does not even come to 1/16th of the causeless mercy shown by a guru. So that's why the word sarva is used. Sarve means all. Studying all the Vedas, Vedic literatures from the beginning to the end for the whole life, reciting perfectly and etc. etc. And performing all the variety of yajnas, performing all the variety of tapas austerities, giving away all the variety of charities, or giving away all one's wealth in charity. Whether one may do all these things or one of the things completely with full dedication for the whole life. But when it comes to offering material, like the solution from material existence, or Jiva Abhaya, taking one to spiritual world, all these things does not come to 1/16th of the benefit one gets by taking shelter of a guru, or by the causeless mercy of a guru. That means a guru can help a surrendered soul to go back home, back to Godhead. All these things at most can take one to Swargaloka, or beyond that. Maybe Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, maybe all the way up to Satyaloka. Not out of the universe. All the different variety of tapasya, austerities, charities, yajnas, and Vedic study, they may take one all the way up to Brahmaloka, but not beyond that. But the instructions given by a spiritual master, especially when a spiritual master talks about the Supreme Lord, that will award fearlessness to the disciple. So by doing this wonderful activity of delivering me, by speaking Krishna consciousness, by speaking about the Supreme Lord, you will gain great fame. And you are speaking Bhagavatam, not only deliver me, it will deliver for all the future generations who are going to take birth in the future. You will get a great fame that you are the cause of deliverance of all the living entities that will be born in the upcoming Kali Yuga. So this is how Vidura is inspiring. Is not what you can say flattering Maitreya. In one sense, this is the truth. That is what Vidura is stating. So by doing this, by speaking about Bhakti and Bhagavan, you will actually give abhaya to one and all the Kali Yuga Vasis. And by bringing them to the lotus feet of Supreme Lord, you will get a great fame. Therefore, please speak Bhagavatam. So like that. So this is how Maitreya has been inspired by Vidura. So Sukadeva Goswami is telling that, hearing all these inquiries and hearing these pleas for speaking Bhagavatam, what was the disposition, the facial disposition in the Maitreya? Sukadeva Goswami is telling, we can't see, but Sukadeva Goswami is telling. Sait, please repeat after me. Saitama Prishta Purana Kalpaha
सैतमापुष्पपुराणकल्पः
Kuru Pradhanena Muni Pradhana
कुरु प्रधानेन मुनि प्रधान
Pravruddha Harsho Bhagavad Katayam
प्रवृद्धहर्षो भगवत्कथायाम्
Sanchodhitastam Prahasannivaha
संचोदितस्तं प्रहसन् विवाह.
Goswami
Translation.
says, thus of the sages, who was always enthusiastic about describing topics regarding the personality of Godhead, began to narrate the descriptive explanation of Puranas. Being so infused by Vidura, he was very much enlivened by speaking on the transcendental activities of the Lord. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah. Sukadeva Goswami is saying that when the best of the Kurus, Vidura, asked Maitreya in this way, the chief among the sages, capable of explaining the Puranas, Purana Kalpaha means is very expert at speaking Puranas, inspired to speak about the Lord, smiled at Vidura, Prahasan Iva, and spoke with great joy. So Maitreya became greatly joyful that by looking at the eagerness of Vidura, Maitreya was so inspired to speak Bhagavatam. So he began to speak. Maitreya, who was qualified to explain all the Puranas, questioned by Vidura, smiling out of joy, spoke. So like this. So what Maitreya spoke will come in the 8th chapter. But any questions till now? Hare Krishna. Devotees have any questions?
No, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. So if there are no questions, so we'll move on to 8th chapter. So in the 8th chapter, with an intention to present all the answers to all the questions asked by our Vidura, slowly, one by one, Maitreya is answering. The 8th chapter describes how Lord Brahma appears from the lotus, which appeared from the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, searches for the source of that lotus and gives up his search, then meditates upon the Supreme Lord with the source of that lotus, then he will have the darshan of Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu. After getting the Lord's darshan, he will offer prayers. The prayers will be mentioned in the 9th chapter. Then the Lord speaks to Brahma and empowers him. Then Brahma creates the 14 planetary systems and unlimited variety of living entities. And that will be mentioned in the next chapter, 10th chapter. So like that, slowly in progression, all the things are mentioned. So like that. These are old slides only. So this chapter has 33 verses. So here we'll see all these things. First few verses talks about how Maitreya became expert at speaking Puranas and what kind of Bhagavatam is going to speak now. Where did he receive from this Bhagavatam from whom? So like that, all these things will be explained in the first section. In the later run, the remaining storyline will be continued from 6th chapter. So like that. So first verse, Maitreya Uvacha.
Maitreya
Maitreya
Uvacha.
Uvacha.
See, one by one, please read. And those who are read, please keep quiet so that others also will read, so that everyone can get an opportunity. Thank you. Sassevaniyo batapuru vamsho
सत्सेवनीयो बतपूर्वंसो
yello kapalo bhagavat pradana
यल्लो कपालो भगवत्प्रदाना
बभूवितेहा जीत कीर्तिमालम
बहुवितेहाजिता कीर्तिमालम्
पदे पदे नूतनयस्य भीक्ष्णम्
पदे पदे नूतनयश्री अभीक्ष्णाम्. Translation. The great sage Maitreya Muni said to Vidura, the royal dynasty of King Puru is worthy to serve the pure devotee because all the descendants of the family are devoted to the personality of Godhead. You are also born in that family, and it is wonderful that because of your attempt The transcendental pastimes of the Lord are becoming newer and newer at every moment.
So in the first verse, Maitreya glorifies Vidura, being astonished at his eagerness to hear about the Supreme Lord. Oh, the dynasty of the Purus has become worthy of worship by the devotees. Since you, the protector of the planets, who have made Bhagavan the object of your worship,
Unable to hear.
Hare Krishna, not
Ye-
audible.
Yes, not audible.
Hari Bol. Hare
हाँ माता जी,
Krishna,
प्रभु जी
Prabhuji.
नेटवर्क में भी पुर.
Okay, okay.
Hare Krishna, if somebody can call Prabhuji and tell that we are not listening to him.
Yes माता जी, I am calling.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Normal call as well as WhatsApp call, both are not connecting माता जी.
I will also try once and find out, Prabhuji. I'll dial and find out.
Yes, माता जी, please.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Now devotees
Krishna,
have
Prabhuji.
received slides.
Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
There was some internet issue. Sorry for the inconvenience. So यहाँ पर Vidura is telling that you are such a great devotee and you chose to appear in the line of Puru dynasty. So we call Pandavas and Kauravas as Puru dynasty. If you go back in the ancestry, it has originally started with Puru. Ayati had 5 children. The youngest son was Puru. And from Puru only, in that lineage only comes all the Pandavas, Kauravas and all. So you made the Puru dynasty glorious by appearing in this dynasty, because you are such a great devotee. By your enthusiasm, you make Bhagavatam newer and newer. You make the garland of Lord's glories newer and newer at every moment, in every word, in every verse, and in every chapter. By your eagerness to hear about Bhagavatam, you actually make Bhagavatam as newer and newer every instant. In every page, every word, every shloka, it all becomes newer and newer. So this is how Maitreya glorifies Vidura. Oh Vidura, you have said that in the past that convinced that the jiva does not actually suffer loss of knowledge, but not yet realizing it directly, I will destroy this lack of realization by service to your lotus feet. Tell me about the causes of this knowledge as described by the devotees. Can a person attain knowledge, bhakti, or renunciation on his own? So, telling that by taking shelter of a guru, one can cut off the bondage and go back home back to Godhead. The only means is taking shelter of a guru. In spite of being a great devotee, you still set an example of surrender into a guru. That makes you more glorious. So, like that. Thus, you have prayed for my association, but you came to me and accepted me as your guru. But actually, according to me, my getting your association is most rare, which is attained by only the greatest amount of good actions. Just by serving persons associated with you, bhakti will arise. So Maitreya is saying that just by serving people connected to you, that person will get bhakti. Then what to speak of serving you directly? It is, you might say that it is your good fortune that you have come to me and accepting me as a guru and I am a mitra and friendly to everyone and all, but not, that is not so. You are a great devotee. By your causeless mercy, you have come to me to deliver me. So like that, Maitreya is telling. So this is how Maitreya is glorifying Vidura. Because in one sense, Maitreya knows who is Vidura. Vidura is none other than Yamaraj himself. And Yamaraj is one of the 12 Mahajanas. So Maitreya is in complete knowledge. He is not flattering Vidura. At the same time, Vidura is also not flattering Maitreya. Maitreya is also one such a great devotee, like Vidura. So both of them are great devotees and they are glorifying each other. That is a wonderful scene. Oh, by this explanation, that by exclamation, Maitreya indicates that Vidura agreed to accept this birth for saving Maitreya. Yamaraj appeared as Vidura in order to save me. Like, my dear sir, you appeared in the form of Vidura only to save me. Like that, Maitreya is saying. The Puru dynasty in which you have appeared has become worthy of service by the devotees. The Puru dynasty has become glorified. It has become worthy of worship by your appearance. Among the 3 forms, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, worshipped according to the different mentalities. The Jnanis worship Brahman, Yogis worship Paramatma, devotees worship Bhagavan. You have made Bhagavan the chief object of your worship, Bhagavat Pradhana. So, my dear Vidura, you are not an ordinary person. The people in this world are worshipping, some of them are worshipping Brahman, some of them are worshipping Paramatma, some of them are worshipping Bhagavan. But you have made Bhagavan as the one and only object of worship. The main object of worship is Bhagavan for you. Among the worshippers of Bhagavan, at every moment, in every statement, on every occasion, In every sentence, in every verse, in every chapter, you make the garland of the glories of the Lord become ever fresh. There may be so many people who are worshipping Bhagavan, but among all of them, you make worship of Bhagavan as ever fresh. Whether it may be by Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Marchanam, Vandanam, Dasam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Bhagavan can be worshipped in many of these 9 methods. But you make the worship of the Lord a newer and newer thing. One does not get bored by that. You string together this garland of the Lord's glories just by the thread of your taste, your eagerness to hear Krishna Katha. You make the garland quickly. So something like that. Placing this garland within the casket of your ears and mind, which have condensed attraction, you make it eternally fresh. Your greatness cannot be expressed in words. So like that. So generally we make flower garland and put it on the neck because it looks beautiful. But Maitreya is making a garland of bhakti activities, the garland of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, etc. And is keeping that garland in the ears and heart of himself, by which he always want to get more and more, more and more, more and more. That makes the speaker become enthused and speak more and more Bhagavatam. So like that, this is how Maitreya is glorifying Vidura for his eagerness to hear Krishna Katha, for his greatness, being a great devotee. And in fact, he says that you have taken birth, you have appeared in this form of Vidura just to deliver me only. Like that, he's telling him. So that's how he glorified Vidura. So after glorifying Vidura, Maitreya gets ready to speak Bhagavatam. And this is also one of the important verses. So this verse is also one of the important verses. It will be there for your exam also. Please repeat after me. Soham nrunam shulla sukaya dukkam
सोऽहं नृणां क्षुल्लसुखाय दुःखम्
महद्गतानां viramaya tasya
महद्गतानां विरमाय तस्य
pravartaye bhagavatam puranam
प्रवर्तये भागवतं पुराणम्
yada sakshat bhagavan rishibhya.
यदा ह साक्षात् भगवान् ऋषिभ्यः. Translation. Let me now begin speaking on the Bhagavata Purana, which was directly spoken to the great sages by the personality of Godhead for the benefit of those who are entangled in extreme miseries for the sake of very little pleasure.
So here he says that I explain this Bhagavata Purana, Bhagavatam Puranam, spoken by the Lord to the great sages for removing the suffering of persons who have fallen into great distress by seeking insignificant happiness. So why he wants to speak Bhagavatam? In order to remove the suffering of the fallen conditioned souls who are in great distress. I'll speak Bhagavatam, which the Supreme Lord spoke to 4 Kumaras. So in the previous canto, when Parikshit Maharaj asked so many questions in the 8th chapter, at the end, Sukadeva Goswami said that in order to answer all your questions, I'll speak Bhagavatam, which was spoken by Lord Narayana unto Lord Brahma, who spoke the same to Narada Muni. Narada Muni spoke to Vyasa, Vyasa spoke to me. I will repeat the same thing. There was the Parampara Brahma Parampara. And here we get to hear the Kumara Parampara, Kumara Sampradaya Parampara. So Narada, Vyasa, that line is coming in the Brahma Sampradaya. Here we get to know about the Kumara Sampradaya. So that connect, because when somebody is speaking Bhagavatam, that should come in the disciplic succession, the bona fide Sampradaya. So the Sampradaya being indicated here in this section. So starting from this verse all the way up to 10th verse, I suppose, the details about that this Sampradaya will be mentioned. But before that, Soham runam shulla sukaya dukkam mahatgatanam viramaya tasya. For sake of shulla sukha, the conditioned soul is going through mahat dukkha. So gatanam viramaya, in order to divert them from the path of dukkha, let me speak Bhagavatam, which was originally spoken by the Lord Sankarsana unto the four Kumaras. So like that. The answer to all your questions are found in the Bhagavat Purana. I'll tell you the glories of this work. That famous, the famous disciple of Parashara, he said, Maitreya saying that famous disciple of Parashara, I speak this work to remove the suffering of hell for men who have fallen into great distress for insignificant material pleasure. So I, the disciple of great Parashara, will speak the Bhagavatam in order to deliver the conditioned souls who have put themselves into perpetual suffering. Because Vidura asked the question at the beginning of his conversation. Tukaya karmani karoti loko natais tukam vanaya duparamamba vindeta bhuya tataya dukkam yadatra yuktam bhagavan vadenna. O sage, men in this world engage in actions for material happiness, but they do not attain material happiness and they do not destroy the existing suffering, nor do they become detached. Rather, by performing one after the other with different activities, they increase their suffering. You know everything about this. Therefore, please tell me the reason for this and the remedy for this. So that was the question asked by our Vidura unto Maitreya. So in one sense, the reason is mentioned. This material world has been created in order to facilitate Jiva's fulfillment of material desires. So by the way, when Jiva performs material desires in a wrong way, material activities in a wrong way, they will suffer. That is mentioned in one sense. The remedy is hearing Bhagavatam. The only remedy is hearing Bhagavatam. That is telling. The remedy is hearing Bhagavatam. Pravartaye. The transformation will take place only when one hears Bhagavatam. This Bhagavatam is the suitable answer to your first question. Therefore, I am speaking this Bhagavatam now. So like that, Maitreya begins. Now Maitreya explains which form of the Lord spoke to which sages. 7 verses then explain how Maitreya got the knowledge. So Maitreya told, he did not mention the names. He said that Yad aha sakshat Bhagavan Rishibhyo. Bhagavan spoke to Rishis. So which Bhagavan spoke to which Rishis? That information should be there. That will be mentioned in the next verse. Asinamurvyam Bhagavantamadyam
आसीनौर्यां भगवन्ताद्यम्
Sankarshanam Devamakuntasatvam
सङ्कर्षणं देवकुण्ठसत्त्वम्
Vivistavasthatvamatah parasya
विविस्तवस्तत्त्वमतः प्रवस्य
Kumaramukya munayo nvapruchan.
कुमारमुख्यां मुनयो न पृच्छन्. Some time ago, being inquisitive to know, Samnat Kumara, the chief of the boy saints, accompanied by other great saints, inquired exactly like you about the truth regarding Vasudeva, the Supreme, from Lord Sankarshana, who is seated at the bottom of the universe.
So he is going to tell that from which parampara he had received this knowledge of Bhagavatam. One time the sages headed by Sanat Kumara, the 4 Kumaras, being philosophically inquisitive, with a desire to know the nature of the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva, asked many questions to Lord Sankarshana, who has indestructible knowledge, who was situated below Patala Loka. Akunta Sattva means a body of Shuddha Sattva or indestructible knowledge. They asked Lord Sankarshana about Lord Vasudeva. So Lord Sankarshana is situated below the Bhumandala, below the Patala, holding the entire Bhumandala upon his hood. So here is Lord Sankarsana. This is the entire Bhumandala, and these are the lower 7 planetary systems. And he kept this entire Bhumandala upon his hoods. And while carrying the entire Bhumandala, he continuously meditates upon Lord's pastimes. So at one point of time, the 4 Kumaras who actually stay in Tapaloka, one loka below Satyaloka, following the path of Ganga, they came all the way down to Patala Loka and then further down to Lord Sankarsana. And there they heard the entire Bhagavatam from Lord Sankarsana. So this Lord Sankarsana is the Shakti Avesh avatar of the Supreme Lord. He is not Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu snake bed, but he is the son of Kashyapa and Kadru. The first son of Kashyapa and Kadru, the elder brother of Vasuki, who was used in the Samudra Manthan pastime, etc. So he is holding the entire Bhumandala on his hoods. So at one point of time, the 4 Kumaras came to him with a desire to understand the Supreme Lord. And this Lord Sankarsana spoke the Bhagavatam to the 4 Kumaras. And 4 Kumaras spoke the same Bhagavatam to many other great sages. Thus, the Kumara Sampradaya began. And second canto, we saw that at the beginning of the creation, the beginning of the Brahma's birth, Brahma performed severe tapasya and Lord Narayana appeared and Lord Narayana spoke Bhagavatam in 4 verses to Brahma. And Brahma elaborated it and spoke to Narada Muni. And like that, it is coming down till today. Like this is Kumara Sampradaya. Swame Vadishnyam Bahumanayantam
स्वमेव दिष्ण्यं बहुमानयन्तम्
Yadvasudevapidamanante
यद्वासुदेवाभिधमान् अमनन्ति
Pratyektakshmam Bhujakoshamish
प्रत्यग्धृताक्ष्मा भुजकोशमीशात्
Unmilayantam Vibhudodayaya.
उन्मीलयन्तं विबुधोदयाय. Translation. At that time, Lord Shankarshna was meditating upon upon his Supreme Lord, whom the learned esteem as Lord Vasudeva. But for the sake of the advancement of the great learned sages, he slightly opened his lotus-like eyes and began to speak.
Hare Krishna, no audible. Hari Bol.
Yes,
Prabhuji?
not audible.
Not audible.
Again, screen went off.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, you are there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Some problem came. Okay. So here it says that worshipping the form of Lord Vasudeva, his own shelter, who is praised by the wise, Lord Sankarsana slightly opened his lotus eyes, concentrated deep in meditation for giving benefit to the sages. As we showed in the previous picture, so while Lord Sankarsana holding the Bhumandala, he is in deep meditation, constantly thinking about the Supreme Lord, meditating upon Lord's wonderful pastimes. So, but these 4 Kumaras came all the way from the top of the universe to the bottom of the universe. From Tapaloka to Patala Loka, below Patala Loka, they came down and they offered glorification of the prayers with the intention to hear about the Supreme Lord. Hearing their prayers, Maitreya Sankarsana became compassionate and slightly opened his eyes. So this verse describes Lord Sankarsana. Worshipping to the highest degree his own shelter, whom the wise worship as Lord Vasudeva, he slightly opened his eyes, which were directed inwards for experiencing the bliss of Lord Vasudeva's form, in order to give benefit to the sages, the four Kumaras. When the four Kumaras came and expressed their desire to hear about the Supreme Lord, then slowly Lord Sankarsana opened his eyes, and that Lord Sankarsana who was holding the Bhumandala is like a snake, and he manifested himself as a person sitting next to the four Kumaras. He spoke the entire Bhagavatam. So like that we can also think. So how did the four Kumaras came all the way from Tapaloka to Lord Sankarsana, who is below Pataloka? That will be mentioned here. Taking shelter of Ganga, they came down the entire journey. Swardunnudardrair kalape.
स्वर्धूनि उदार्द्रैः स्वजजातकलापैर्
Upasprushantashcharanopadaanam.
उपस्पृशन्ताश्चरणोपदानम्
Padmam yadarchanti ahirajakanya.
पद्मं यत् अर्चन्ति अहिराजकन्या
Sapremanana balibirvara varartha.
सप्रेमनाना बलिभिर्वरार्ता. Translation. The sages came from the highest planets down to the lower region through the water of the Ganges, and therefore the hair on their heads was wet. They touched the lotus feet of the Lord, which are worshipped with various paraphernalia by the daughters of the Serpent King when they desired good husbands.
The sages whose hair became wet because of the Ganga water touched the lotus pillow of the Lord's feet, which the daughters of the snake king, desiring husbands, worship with various gifts out of love. The Patala Loka is actually abode of the snakes. All the Nagas reside in Patala Loka. And the snake Kanyas, the Naga Kanyas, the snake daughters, they all come to Lord Sankarsana and worship him with intention to get good husbands. And they always worship the lotus feet of Lord Sankarsana. And now, the four Kumaras who traveled along with Ganga from Tapaloka all the way up to Patalaloka and then down to Lord Sankarsana, their hair became wet. Their hair is still wet. With that wet hair, they bowed to the lotus feet of Lord Sankarsana. So like that. This verse and the half of the next verse describe the sages, the four Kumaras. Why? From where they came and what was the disposition with which they came to Lord Sankarsana, etc. To hear the Bhagavatam, the sages descended from Satyaloka to Patalaloka via the Ganga. Thus their hair was wet. Upadanam means pillow. Varartha means desiring a husband. Later on in the 5th canto, chapter 17 talks about how Ganga descends from Satyaloka all the way up to Patalaloka. How the Ganga comes passing through all the lokas. Ganga goes through all the 14 planetary systems. Ganga water is available everywhere all over the universe. Everyone gets benefit by the presence of Ganga. And this has been indicated in 10th canto, one of the verses which was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami, wherein hearing a different question by Parikshit Maharaj, who asked about Lord Krishna, with the eagerness to hear about Lord Krishna more and more, Sukadeva Goswami speaks this verse. Vasudeva kata prashna purusham strin punatihi vaktaram pruchakam shrotrim tatpada salilam yata. It says that the holy river Ganga, emanating from the toe of Lord Vishnu, purifies the three worlds Of course, the 14 planetary systems, but especially the Bhuloka, Borloka, Sargaloka, and all the other planetary systems. Similarly, when one asks questions about the pastimes and characteristics of the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva, Sri Krishna, three varieties of men are purified. The speaker, here Sukadeva Goswami, the inquirer, Parikshit Maharaj, and the listener, the entire assembly sitting there. The same thing is applicable to whole Bhagavatam, wherever the discussion is happening. By asking some relevant questions and making the speaker to speak about the Supreme Lord, the speaker gets benefit, the hearer gets benefit, and additionally, whoever is sitting there and hears the same Krishna Katha, they also gets benefit. The three category of people get the benefit of hearing Krishna Katha. So like that. So here basically, Purusham Strin Punatihi. So, Et Pada Salilam Yata. So Salilam is Ganga. Just like Ganga purifies the entire universe, similarly Krishna purifies three category of people. So like that. So the four Kumaras, what was their disposition further mentioned? Muhur Grunanto Vachasanuraga
मुहुर्गुणातो वचसुराग
Skalat Skalat Padenasya Krutani Tajna
स्खलत् पदेन सकृतानि जना
Kirita Sahasramani Praveka
किरीटसहस्रमणि प्रवेक
Pradyotitodhama Sahasram.
प्रद्योतितो दामफन सहस्रम. Translation. The four Kumaras, headed by Sanat Kumar, who all knew the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, glorified the Lord in rhythmic accents with selected words full of affection and love. At that time, Lord Sankarsana, with his thousands of raised hoods, began to radiate an effulgence from the glowing stones on his head. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it says that the sages, the four Kumaras, knowing the Lord, glorified his activities with words whose syllables were choked because of their love. They addressed the Lord, whose thousand raised hoods sparkled with thousands of crowns with the best of jewels. So they came down following the path of Ganga. They came down to Lord Sankarsana. They offered obeisances at the lotus feet of Lord Sankarsana. And then they began to request Lord Sankarsana to speak Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam means about the Supreme Lord. While asking the inquiry, their voice was choked up because they have such that much love for the Supreme Lord. So while they are asking the Supreme Lord, the Lord Sankarsana, they saw Lord Sankarsana is having thousands of hoods, and every hood is decorated with a beautiful mukut. So like that. The four Kumaras, knowing the activities of the Lord, glorified his activities with statements whose words are faltered. Kritani also means pastimes. Sahasra or Sahasra means thousand. Mani Praveka means having the chief of jewels. So the Kumaras also knew something and telling that, and they are inquiring further. So while doing that, their heart was melted and their eyes were flowing down and their voice was choked up. So this is the state of the four Kumaras. So when with such an eagerness, with such a loving disposition, when the Kumaras inquired from Lord Sankarsana with the intention to know about the Lord more and more, then the Lord replied. What kind of reply the Lord gave? Then what happened? Then what happened? What first is mentioned in the next verse. Proktam kilaitat bhagavattamena
प्रोक्तं किलैतत् भगवत्तमेन
nivritti dharma ratayatena.
ते धर्माभिरताय तेन
सनत्कुमाराय स चाह पृष्टः
सनत्कुमाराय स चाह पृष्टः
सांख्यायनायाङ्ग धृतव्रताय
सांख्यायनायाङ्गधृतव्रताय. Translation. Lord Sankarshana thus spoke the purport of the Srimad Bhagavatam to the great sage Sanat Kumar, who had already taken the vow of renunciation. Sanat Kumara also, in his turn, when inquired of by Sankhya Muni, explained Srimad Bhagavatam as he has had it from Sankarshana.
Lord Sankarshana spoke the Bhagavatam to Sanat Kumara. Of course, the four Kumaras were there, but Sanat Kumara is like the spokesperson. He is making inquiries on behalf of four Kumaras, who was engaged in pure bhakti, Bruhad Vrata. And then eventually, Sanat Kumara spoke the same Bhagavatam to the great sage, Sankhayana, who was also engaged in Drutavrata. Drutavrata means bhakti. He is also a great devotee. Later on, Sanat Kumara spoke the same Bhagavatam to Sankhayana Muni. This was spoken by Lord Sankarshana to Sanat Kumara. Bhagavattama has the same meaning as Bhagavan, or Bhagavattama can mean the best of the devotees who have the knowledge concerning the creation of the Lord, creation of the universe. So the Lord spoke this Bhagavatam to Sanat Kumara, who was engaged in pure bhakti. So Bhagavatama is can be translated as Bhagavan also. Etad Bhagavattamena Proktam. It can be same as Bhagavatama can be is Bhagavan, Bhagavatam, or the best of the devotee who had the knowledge concerning the creation of this universe. So Lord Sankarshana also. So basically Lord Sankarshana spoke the Bhagavatam to four Kumaras headed by Sanat Kumara, and in later on Sanat Kumara spoke the same Bhagavatam to Sankhayana Muni, Sankhayana Rishi. And whom the Sankhayana Muni spoke to, that will be mentioned in this verse. Sankhayana Paramahamsa Mukhyo
Sankhya Paramahamsa Mukhayo
Vivekshamano Bhagavad Vibhutihi
Vivek Samano Bhagavat Vibhutihi
Jagadasosmat Guravenvitaya
Jaga Soso Mat Guravenya Vitaya
Parasharayata Bruhaspatescha.
Parasara Yata Brahaspatescha. Translation. The great sage Sankhya was the chief amongst the transcendentalists. And when he was describing the glories of the Lord in terms of Srimad Bhagavatam, it so happened that my spiritual master Parasara and Brahaspati both had him.
The best of the Paramahamsas, Sankhayana, desiring to describe the Lord's powers, spoke this Bhagavatam to our Guru Parashara, who was obedient to Sankhayana Muni and also to Bruhaspati. So Sankhayana Muni, in due course of time, spoke the same Bhagavatam to Parashara as well as Bruhaspati. Both of them heard from Sankhayana Muni. Then eventually, Parashara speaks the same Bhagavatam to Maitreya. So Maitreya's guru is Parashara. So that Bhagavatam which I have heard from my guru Parashara, I will speak to you now. Like that, our Maitreya is speaking. Provacha mayyam sadayalurukto
Provachamayam Sadayalu Rukto
Muni pulassena purana madhyam
Muni Pulaskena Puranam Adyam
Soham tavaitat katayami vasta
Soham Tavaitat Katayami Vatsa
Shraddha lave nityamanuvrtaya
Shraddha Lave Nityam Anuvrataya. Translation. The great sage Parasara As aforementioned, being so advised by the great sage Pulastya, spoke unto me the foremost of the Puranas, Bhagavatam. I shall also describe this before you, my dear son, in terms of my hearing, because you are always my faithful follower.
Merciful Parashara, blessed by Pulasya, spoke this foremost Purana to me. I now speak this Purana to you, who are faithful and always obedient. Hearing that his father had been, okay, now, why, there is a point here, why Pulasya blessed Parashara? There is a story connecting to it. It is mentioned in the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata Adi Parva, the great story is the story connected to the birth of Vyasadeva. The entire story mentioned that it's briefly mentioned here. Hearing that his father had been eaten by Rakshasa, created by Vishwamitra, when there was a constant fight between Vasishtha and Vishwamitra, when Vishwamitra was defeated by the Mantra Shakti of Vasishtha Rishi, so Vishwamitra became very angry, created a Rakshasa to destroy the 100 sons of Vasishtha. So that the Rakshasa destroyed all the 100 sons of Vasishtha. So one among them was Shakti, and Shakti's son was Parashara. When Parashara eventually came to know about this, that one of the Rakshasas had killed my father, so Parashara performed a yajna in which he is invoking all the Rakshasas, entire Rakshasa community. One after the other, one after the other, all the Rakshasa communities are entering into that yajna and dying. So at understanding this, Vasishtha came and requested Parashara to stop it. My dear grandson, so whatever happened, it happened because of the destiny. Don't find fault with the Rakshasa community. Whatever you have done, enough is enough. Please stop it. Then immediately Parashara stopped it because Vasishtha told. Vasishtha is his grandfather. So hearing this, the progenitor of the Rakshasas. So Pulasya is the Prajapati of here it is there. Is the Prajapati of Rakshasas, Vanaras, Kinnaras, Gandharvas, and Rakshasas. All these different people are born from Pulasya. Pulasya is the Prajapati for all these different variety of living entities. So Pulasya became very happy. Oh, Parashara is so obedient. He is a small child, still is so powerful that he could perform a yajna and destroy the entire Rakshasa community. So, and he, at the same time, is also obedient. Let me go and see him. Then Pulasya came and he blessed Parashara that you will become the speaker of the Puranas. May you be the wonderful speaker of the Puranas. Like that, Pulasya blessed Parashara. And as a result of that, Parashara, the father of Srila Vyasadeva, became the speaker of Vishnu Purana. So Parashara, who is the grandson of Vasishtha, son of Shakti, father of Vyasadeva, he has blessed by Pulasya, has become the speaker of Puranas. The essence of all the Puranas, he spoke in the form of Vishnu Purana. Just like Bhagavatam is a conversation between Sukadeva Goswami and Parishit Maharaj, similarly, Vishnu Purana is a conversation between Parashara and Maitreya. Maitreya. So here in the Bhagavatam, we are discussing Maitreya and Vidura's conversation. So whatever Maitreya is speaking here is what he had heard from Parashara. And that conversation is recorded in the form of Vishnu Purana. So it is like that. So Vishnu Purana is the Purana coming in the disciple succession of Kumara Sampradaya. Srimad Bhagavatam is a Purana coming in the disciple succession of Brahma Sampradaya. So like that we can take. So in that way. So this is how the background of what he is going to speak has been set. And now starting from the next verse, having showed how Bhagavatam started from Lord Sankarsana and the great sage Maitreya now begins the story, continuing from chapter 6. So wherever he stopped in chapter 6, after the manifestation of the universal form and all, he will continue further in this chapter from text number 10 onwards. So any questions till now?
Yes, Prabhuji, I have one question. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, जैसे we have seen this in Bhagavatam in first canto also. This Bhagavatam is the commentary of Vedant Sutra, which is written by this Vaibhav. And when you also seen this Bhagavatam is spoken by Lord Sankarshan, and the Bhagavatam also is spoken by this Narayan to the Brahmaji. So that Bhagavatam also means this how this connected with this Vedant's commentary on Vedant Sutra and then that this
See,
Bhagavatam.
not like that, not like that. Simple connection is very simple. Whatever has been presented in the four Vedas, the essence of the four Vedas is summarized in the form of Vedanta Sutra.
Vedanta.
So whatever has been presented summarily in Vedanta Sutra, as elaborated in the form of 18 Puranas and the 2 Itihasas, Ramayana and Mahabharata. It is not only Srimad Bhagavatam is the commentary of Vedanta Sutra. All the Puranas and Itihasas are the commentary of Vedanta Sutra. In one sense, the Puranas and Itihasas are explaining the meaning of Vedanta Sutra. So that is understanding.
Okay.
But in one sense,
then
all the other Puranas speaks about the essence also, as well many other details also. But Bhagavatam, the mainly focuses on the principal essence of Vedanta Sutra. The essence of Vedanta Sutra is Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. All the 4 sadhanas are presented in the Vedanta Sutra. So all the Puranas glorify all the 4 sadhanas. But Bhagavatam, while talking about all the other 3 sadhanas, but glorifies continuously again and again, repeatedly, the Bhakti Yoga. So that is a little speciality of Bhagavatam compared to all other Puranas.
So that means this whatever the Bhagavatam is spoken by this Lord Narayana and this Lord Sankarshan is totally the pure bhakti, that is why it's called Bhagavatam.
Yes, even Vishnu Purana also has pure bhakti only. So in one sense, out of 18 Puranas, there are 6 Puranas in the mode of goodness. They actually mainly focus on bhakti aspect. And other Puranas also focus on bhakti aspect and also focus on other aspects also. So like that you can take.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, Prabhuji, one small doubt about it. In just now in Shloka 4, 5 related to and 3, that Lord Sankarsana is seated at the bottom of the universe. Then what about the Garbhodaya Vishnu? I am confused in both. Can you explain, Prabhuji?
He is not seated at the bottom of the universe. Actually, you will understand all the details when you come to 5th canto. There will understand. There is Garbhodaka ocean, and above Garbhodaka ocean, there is Kurma. Lord Kurma is floating in the Garbhodaka ocean. Upon Kurma, we have Shesha, and upon Shesha, we have the Bhumandala. The Shesha is holding the entire Bhumandala and taking the support of Kurma, who is floating in the Garbhodaka ocean, so that the Bhumandala does not sink into Garbhodaka ocean. And Garbhodaka Vishnu is inside the ocean, inside the Garbhodaka ocean. That will come in 1 or 2 verses later. Couple of verses later, I'll show you some pictures. In the today's presentation, there are some pictures. That time you will get more understanding.
Thank you.
Other devotees, do you have any questions?
This Sankarsana is not Chaturvyuha, na?
No, this Sankarsana is Shakti Avesh Avatar. He is the son of Kadru and Kashyapa. He is the Jiva Tattva empowered by the Supreme Lord. He is not Chaturvyuha.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. So we'll continue with text number 10 onwards. Uda plutam vishwamidam tadasid.
Uda plutam vishwamidam tadasid.
Yannidrayami litadrin namilayat.
Yanidrayami litadran namilyat.
Ahindratalpe अहीन्द्रतल्पे दिशयान एका
अहीन्द्रतल्पे दिशयान एका
कृतक्षणा स्वात्मरतो निरीह
कृतक्षणा स्वात्मरतौ निरीहा. Translation. At the time when the three worlds were submerged in water, Garbhodakshay Vishnu was alone, lying on his bedstead. The great snake Ananta, and although he appeared to be in slumber in his own internal potency, free from the action of the external energy, his eyes were not completely closed.
Yeah. So that story is continuing from chapter 6 onwards. The universal form lay in the water of devastation when Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, full of his Shakti, with Shesha as his bed. So here the Shesha is there, na? He is also called Sankarshana. He is Vishnu Tattva. He is one of the quadruple expansion, is expansion of Balramji. He is nothing to do with that Shesha who is holding the entire Sankarshana who is holding the entire Bhumandala. Both of them are different. He is the snake bed of Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. The other one is the son of Kashyapa. He is holding the Bhumandala. Both of them are different. He is Vishnu Tattva and Lord Sankarshana, the holder of the Bhumandala, was Jiva Tattva. So in that way. So with Shesha as his bed, enjoying with his Swarupa Shakti and having given up glancing at Maya, lay with his eyes closed. So now what is happening? Here, the universal form that has been presented in the chapter 6, it is still remained submerged in one body of water when Lord Narayana Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, whose eyes do not close since his Shakti was active, had his eyes closed at the time of periodic destruction at the night of Brahma. So there is one point. Okay. After this point, I will explain this what it is. He was enjoying with his Swarupa Shakti, having given up glancing on Maya for maintenance of the universe. Talpe stands for Talpa, who is the snake bed, Shesha Talpa. From this chapter onwards, Maitreya described the Padma Kalpa, Brahmas today. So basically, what was discussed in the previous two chapters, chapter 5 and chapter 6, is all about what had happened before the birth of Lord Brahma. Before Lord Brahma was born, how the unlimited number of universes have been created by the combination of 24 metal elements, and then in each and every universe, how Mahavishnu expanding himself as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu entered there and created water which filled the lower half of the universe, and Garbhodakshaya Vishnu entered into that water to take rest. Okay, and then from him the subtle universal form manifested because the devatas prayed that we want to do some service. In order to facilitate their service, so Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu created a subtle universal form or the universal form in a subtle way. It has not yet physically manifested. The plan is made, something like that. When you want to construct a building, the building plan drawing is made. The drawing is a subtle drawing. Everything is there in the drawing, but you can't see anything. So eventually, when the construction happens, you will get to see the building, something like that. So now, and then creation happens throughout the day of Brahma. The entire universe is maintained by Lord Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. In the night, Lord Shiva destroys, and everything that has been created by Brahma, maintained by Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, will be destroyed by Brahma, destroyed by Lord Shiva, and everything enters into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And everyone and everything takes rest for one night of Brahma. After Brahma's creation, the creation will continue, it will be maintained for one full daytime of Brahma that will last for 1000 Chaturyugas. And at the evening, after 1000 Chaturyugas completed, Lord Shiva destroys all the 14 planetary systems. All the way up to Lord Brahma, all the living entities, they enter into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and they take rest during that time. So that time there are no lokas. None of the 14 lokas exist. They are within the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and all the living entities up to Brahmaji. They are also in the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. They all take rest. During this time, during the night of Brahma, when Brahma is in sleep, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu no need to look at Maya in order to create and maintain the universes. But Garbhodakshaya Vishnu was looking at Mother Lakshmi, who is massaging his lotus feet, and looking at other concerts who are fanning him, singing for his pleasure, and playing some instrument, all the various concerts. They are there sitting around Garbhodakshaya Vishnu who are serving him for his pleasure. So he'll be looking at the expansion of his Shakti, but not looking at Maya Shakti, because of which the material activities are at sleep. So something like that. So that is mentioned here. So whatever is being spoken from now on is what is happening today. आज का दिन कैसे हुआ था? At the beginning of the day, how Brahma appeared and how did he create? It is mentioned in this chapter onwards. So from this chapter onwards, from this verse onwards, till the end of the Bhagavatam, what had happened from the beginning of Brahma's day until the recent time. So Sukadeva Goswami speaks about the time of Parikshit Maharaj being cursed by Takshaka and speaking Bhagavatam. Even he goes ahead, what is going to happen in this Kali Yuga for 3000 years? What kind of kings are going to appear and what kind of activity they are going to do for 3000 years? He will explain. And then he says that, like this, anyway, there is no point in talking about further after 3000 years of Kali Yuga because all the atheistic rulers will come and all, there is nothing to speak about them. But at the end of the Kali Yuga, Lord Kalki will appear and will transform the Kali Yuga into Satya Yuga. And like that, in one sense, Srila Sukadeva Goswami spoke about till the end of the current Kali Yuga, from the beginning of the day of Brahma. So at the beginning of the day of the beginning of the current day of Brahma is what is happening is getting started in this verse. So like that. So this is how we have to understand. So what was spoken in the previous two chapters 5 and 6 is about before the birth of Brahma. Now by now Brahma already completed 50 years. Now 51st year, first month, first day is going on. So what had happened in the past 50 years back was mentioned in the previous two chapters. And what is happening today morning, early in the morning, at the time of Brahma's awakening, is mentioning now. So what is happening at the end of the night of Brahma? So Lord Vishnu was still in Yoga Nidra, glancing upon his Chit Shakti, Mother Lakshmi and other concerts, because they are all playing instruments, singing, dancing and massaging his feet and fanning, etc. But Maya Shakti is taking rest within the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So Lord is not looking at Maya. When Lord looks at Maya, then Brahma's day begin and all the activities will begin. So it is like that. What is the position of the jivas who are populating the three worlds, Swargaloka and below, etc.? All the 14 planet systems are filled with different living entities. What they were doing during the night of Brahma? Of course, they all entered into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and they were taking rest. And that will be mentioned in the next verse. Sonta sharirerpita bhuta sukshmaha
सोऽन्तः शरीरेऽर्पितपूतसूक्ष्मः
कालात्मिकां शक्तिमुदीरयानः
कालात्मिकां शक्तिम् उदीरयानः
उवास तस्मिन् सलिले पदे स्वे
उवास तस्मिन् सलिले पदे स्वे
यतानलो दारुनिरुद्धवीर्यः
यथा नलो दारुणिरुद्धवीर्यः. Translation: just like the strength of fire within fuel wood, the Lord remained within the water of dissolution, submerging all the living entities in their subtle bodies. He lay in the self-invigorated energy called Kala.
Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, containing within himself the jivas with their subtle bodies, after having discharged his energy of time to destroy the three worlds, resides in his own abode below Patala Loka, within the great water of Garbhodaka ocean, just as fire resides within wood with its energy concealed. So this shloka explains what happened is, yesterday evening, matlab the previous day of Brahma, when the day is yet to complete, about to complete, from the Lord Sankarsana, whose picture I showed previously, who was holding the entire Bhumandala. He was holding the Bhumandala so that all of us can practice bhakti and go back to Godhead. But when he sees, even till the end of the day of Brahma, many of us are not getting ready to go back to Godhead. Lord Sankarsana becomes very angry. When he becomes angry, from his bhukti comes the 11 Rudras with 3 eyes each. The 11 Rudras who appeared from Lord Sankarsana, who is very angry, the Rudras are also very much angry. They open their third eye, from which comes their huge fire. That fire burns Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala, Bhuloka, Bhurloka, Swargaloka. The 10 lokas are burnt to ashes by the fire emanated from the 11 Rudras. All the living entities living in these 10 lokas, their gross bodies are burnt to ashes, and with their subtle bodies, they all forcibly enter into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then the heat goes all the way up to Maharloka. Unable to tolerate the heat coming from the 11 Rudras, the Maharloka people goes to Janaloka. Janaloka people go to Tapaloka. Tapaloka people are with them. Tapaloka people will go to Satyaloka. And from Satyaloka, Lord Brahma takes all of them, enters into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And they take rest for the entire night of Brahma, within being situated in the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Then what happens? Anyway, the 10 planetary systems are burnt to ashes by the fire emitted from the third eye of 11 Rudras, and the upper 4 planetary systems are also kind of burnt later on. All the 14 planetary systems, after being burnt, they also enter into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu in a subtle state. So this is what happened. All the living entities living all over the 14 planetary systems of the universe, giving up their gross bodies, they enter into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, their subtle bodies. And all the 14 lokas giving up their gross appearance in a subtle way, they also enter into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Now everything is inside the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Nothing is outside. So it is like that. So, and Garbhodakshaya Vishnu himself is inside the water, deep within the water. The subtle bodies of the Devatas, men and other living entities living in the universe reside within Lord Vishnu's body. Lord Vishnu means Garbhodakshaya Vishnu's body after the period of destruction during the night of Brahma. When the destruction happens by Lord Shiva, the 11 Rudras, they all enter into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and they take rest for the entire night of Brahma. All this happens by the Kala Shakti, being inspired by Kala Shakti. Having destroyed all the gross bodies of the inhabitants of the 3 worlds by time, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu places their subtle bodies within himself. This is called the aggregate subtle body of the Jivas. All the subtle bodies of the Jivas put together is called the aggregate subtle body of the Jivas. That is there within the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And where does he reside? He resides below Patala Loka in his own abode, Swepade, within one expanse of water, Garbhodaka ocean, by his power which stops water from entering. That means within Garbhodaka ocean, Lord Vishnu had his own abode. And into that abode, Garbhodaka ocean water does not enter. So within the water, there is a Mahal. Within that Mahal, there is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And what Garbhodaka ocean water does not enter into that Mahal. And since he is within the water, since he is not seen by the inhabitants of Maharloka and upper planetary systems, he is compared to fire within wood. So since Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is situated within the Garbhodaka ocean, no one among the 14 planetary systems get to see the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. That's why he is compared to the fire within wood. The wood contains fire within it, but we can't see. So unless until we expose it to fire, we can't see the fire in that wood. Similarly, bhakti is there within all of us. Unless until we come in touch with some devotee, the bhakti within our heart does not manifest outside. So something like that. So this is where he is situated. How long did the Lord remain resting? For how much time? Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu and all the, what is this? Lord Brahma and other Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, all the Devatas and all the conditions will take rest. That is 1000 Chaturyugas for the entire night of Brahma, which is equal to the daytime of Brahma. The daytime, morning 6 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. is 1000 Chaturyugas. The night time, evening 6 p.m. to morning 6 a.m. is another 1000 Chaturyugas. That much time they are all taking rest within the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. That is mentioned in the 12th verse.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
हाँ, yes, प्रभु।
प्रभु जी, अभी जैसे सारे 14 प्लानेटरी सिस्टम्स अगर एशिस के रूप में अगर चेंज हो गया तो लॉर्ड संकर्षण जो है उनका क्या सेवा रहेगा? अभी वो वहां पे
अभी हो गया ना, अभी प्रलय का टाइम हो गया, अभी गुस्सा हो गया अभी। See, he wanted to destroy them, then why we will hold the Bhumandala? He will not hold only, na? So he created 11 Rudras and disappeared.
Okay, हाँ,
Something
disappear.
like that.
Thank you.
Any other devotees have such questions? Okay. चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
स्वपन् स्वयोदीरितया स्वशक्त्या
स्वपन् स्वयोदीरितया स्वशक्त्या
कालाख्यया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो
कालाख्यया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो
लोकानपीतान् ददृशे स्वदेहे
लोकान् अपीतान् ददृशे स्वदेहे. Translation. The Lord laid down for 4000 yuga cycles in his internal potency, and by his external energy, he appeared to be sleeping within the water. When the living entities were coming out for further development of their fruitive activities, actuated by the energy called Kal Shakti, he saw his transcendental body as bluish.
After sleeping within the waters of Garbhodaka ocean for 1000 cycles of 4 yugas, 1000 Chaturyugas, 1000 Divya yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali combined together, it is called as Chaturyuga or Divya Yuga or Yuga just. So like that, for 1000 Chaturyugas, Garbhodaksha Vishnu was sleeping. Along with Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Lord Brahma and all other living entities and the Devatas are all taking rest within the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Along with his Maya Shakti. Even Maya Shakti was also taking rest within the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. While engaged with his awakened Chit Shakti. So while Maya Shakti and all other Devatas are all sleeping within the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, in relation to them, Garbhodaksha Vishnu also in sleep. But in relation to Mother Lakshmi and all other consorts, Garbhodaksha Vishnu is still awake and is exchanging loving exchanges with them. But when the day is about to start, when Brahma's day is about to start, morning 6 a.m., then Garbhodaksha Vishnu glanced upon the living entities with their subtle bodies who dwelled within his body. Then they moved to independent action by his time energy. The whole night, he was performing sweet pastimes with Mother Lakshmi and all other concerts. But when it became morning 6 a.m., he has to begin the creation again. Then Garbhodaksha Vishnu looked at his own abdomen, within which all the living entities up to Lord Brahma were taking rest. And including the 14 planetary systems and also the Maya Devi, everyone is taking rest within the abdomen of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Now, in order to start the activity, begin the day, Garbhodaksha Vishnu was looking at the abdomen, looking at his own abdomen. So that is mentioned here to start the activities. Though he is in waking state with his awakened Chit Shakti, he is in sleeping state with the sleeping Maya Shakti. In relation to Maya Shakti, who is sleeping within the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is sleeping. In relation to Mother Lakshmi and other expansions of Mother Lakshmi who are serving Garbhodakshaya Vishnu by massaging his feet, fanning him, and singing and dancing and playing instruments and all, he is awake. And that Lord, by his time energy, he then became active in regards to the jivas within him for giving them enjoyment. He looked at the living entities from Brahma to the non-moving beings along with the 14 planetary systems who had attained subtle forms within his own body in order to eject them from his body. So it is like that. So in order to begin the creation of this day of Brahma, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu looked at his own abdomen. Then what happened? Maybe after 14th verse, I have some images. So what we have been discussing from 10th verse onwards till then, everything will be there in the pictures so that you can appreciate them, how exactly happening all these things. So but still, we will go through the discussion. Tatyartha sukshma bivinishta drushter
तस्यार्थ सूक्ष्माभिनिवस्तदृष्टेर्
antargatorto rajasa taniyan
अन्तर्गतोऽर्थो रजसा तनीयान्
गुणेन कालानुगतेन विद्धा
गुणेन कालानुगतेन विद्या
तुष्यं तदा विद्यतनाभिदेशात्
सुष्यंस्तदाभिदयात् सुष्यं तदाभिद्यतानाभिदेशात्. Translation. The supple subject matter of creation on which the Lord's attention was fixed was agitated by the material mode of passion, and thus the subtle form of creation pierced through his abdomen.
After the Lord's glance entered the subtle bodies of the jivas within him and the 24 elements within him, all the jivas with their subtle bodies, all the 24 elements in their subtle state, in a subtle state, agitated by the mode of passion, Rajasa Viddha, in obedience to time, took birth and sprouted from his navel as a lotus bird. When Garbhodakshaya Vishnu glanced at his own abdomen, all the 24 elements and all the living entities who are there within him, his own abdomen in a subtle state, they slowly manifested in the form of especially the 24 elements first manifest in the form of a lotus bird coming out of his navel. This verse elaborates. After his glance entered into the subtle bodies of all the jivas, to pull them out, first the 24 elements which are within him with very subtle form became agitated by Rajas according to time and were brought forth, pushed them upwards from his navel. First, the 24 elements which are in subtle state, taking a grass form, appeared as a lotus bird from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Then what happened? That lotus bird which just appeared from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, it grew as big as the entire universe. It became big, 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 big. It occupied the entire universe. That is mentioned in the next verse. Sapadmakosha sasodadishtat
Sapatmakosha sahasodadishtat
kalena karma pratibodhanena
kalena karma pratibodhanena
Swarochishat salilam vilasam sarvishalam
Swarochisatat salilam vishalam
vidyotayan arkaivatmayonihi
Vidyotayan arkaivatmayonihi. Translation. Piercing through this sum total form of the fruitoequities of the living entities took the shape of the bud of the lotus flower generated from the personality of Vishnu. And by his supreme will, it illuminated everything like the sun and dried up the vast waters of devastation.
Yeah. The 24 material elements in due course of time became a lotus bird and suddenly rose up above the ocean, impelled by the awakened karmas of the jivas. Having Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu as its source, the lotus lit up the broad expanse of water with effulgence like the sun. Since Garbhodaksha Vishnu is inside the water, the lotus appeared as a small bird from the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. It eventually came out of the water and it became big. It occupied the entire space of the universe and it is so shining so brightly. The entire water was brightly shining. Because above the water it was completely darkness after the destruction. But now the lotus appeared in the dark area and enlightened the entire area, even without the need of the sun. So like that. The 24 material elements transforming into a lotus bird by time stood above the waters of the devastation by the force of the awakened karmas of the jivas. The lotus bird had Lord Vishnu, Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu as its source. It was like the sun illuminating by its effulgence. It did not depend on the sun to light up the Garbhodaka ocean water. The entire area became brightly shining because of the presence of the lotus. Then what happened? Then Brahma has to appear. So first the 24 elements appeared in the form of the lotus, the grass manifestation. Now all the living entities have to appear. So first their leader Brahma appears and through Brahma remaining all will come out of the abdomen of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So now let us see how Brahma appears. Tallokapadmam sau eva Vishnuhu
Tallokapadmam sayu eva Vishnuhu
Pravivisha sarvagunavabhasam
Pravivishat sarvagunavabhasam
Tasmin swayam vedamayo vidhata
Tasmin swayam vedamayo vidhata
Swayam bhuvam yam sma vadanti sobhut.
Swayam bhuvam yam smavadanti sobhut. Translation: into that universal lotus flower, Lord Vishnu personally entered as the Supersoul, and when it was thus impregnated with all the modes of material nature, the personality of Vedic wisdom, whom we call the self-born, was generated.
Yeah. Oh Vidura, Lord Vishnu entered that lotus of all the planets, which reveal all the enjoyable objects for the jivas. Brahma, known as self-born, composer of the Vedas, appeared within that lotus. So what's happening now? Let us see. That lotus made up of all the planets. All the 14 planetary systems with so many enjoyable things are there within the lotus in a subtle state. Later on, in the 10th chapter, we'll see that how Brahma will create the 14 lokas from this lotus on which he is appearing now. So as of now, everything is there in the lotus. All the places of enjoyment are there within that lotus. All the 14 lokas are there within that lotus. And it is called as Vairaja. The Vairaja means the gross universal form consisting of 14 planetary systems. The lotus is called Vairaja, which at the time of devastation had entered uttered in a subtle state into the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, now appeared from the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, again re-attaining its grass nature. As of now, just some time back, it was in a subtle state within the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. But when Garbhodaksha Vishnu looked at his own abdomen, the 24 elements which are in subtle state, taking a grass form, appeared as a lotus. Now, this lotus is currently having all the 14 planet systems, which are meant for enjoyment for all the people in a subtle state. And eventually, the 14 planet systems will manifest from this lotus. And that form of 14 planet systems is called as Vairaja, the gross universal form. So like that. And then Lord Vishnu entered into that lotus. Means what? Garbhodakshaya Vishnu expanded himself as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu and entered into that lotus as its Antaryami. The lotus just came out of Mahavishnu, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu's navel. It does not know what to do. Then in order to activate that lotus, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu expanded himself as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu and entered into that lotus as its Paramatma. Then the lotus begins to do miracles. Then what happened? As soon as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu entered into that lotus, from that lotus, which held within itself the manifestation of the effects of all the gunas, Sarga, Naraka, which are supposed to be enjoyed by the Jivas, Brahma appeared. The first Jiva, as soon as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu entered into that lotus, on top of that, Brahma appeared. Who is Brahma? He is called self-born, Swayambhuva. Appeared on his own, Swayambhuva. And Brahma's son Manu is called Swayambhuva. For Swayambhuva Manu, this A is long A. For Brahma, this A is Swayambhuva, small a. Swayambhuva, Swayambhuva. It's like that. So he is called Swayambhuva or self-born because he has no visible parentage. From external point of view, no one knows where are the parents of Brahmaji because Brahmaji suddenly appeared from the lotus. Lotus can't be the parent. But the source of lotus is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and Mother Lakshmi. They are the parents of Brahma, but they are not visible to anyone. So that's why Brahma is called as Swayambhuva. He was previously merged with Garbhodakshaya Vishnu in sleep. When the Lord awoke, the Brahma appeared by the means of this lotus. So now, what is happening now? The lotus, which just appeared from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, it is the gross universal form called Vairaja because it will contains all the 14 planetary systems within it. So it is the gross form of Brahma. And then they reach the subtle form called Hiranyagarbha. All the living entities, starting from blade of grass all the way up to Brahma, who are there in a subtle state within the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, all of them put together are called Hiranyagarbha. That is the subtle universal form. And then the personality who appeared on top of the lotus, there is also a four-handed Brahma, the creator, who just appeared from the lotus at this time. So all these three are called Brahma, Brahma, Brahma. Thus, there are three forms of Brahma. They are also compared to Brahma. They are also called as Brahma. So basically, Brahma has three manifestations. In one sense, the gross universal form, the subtle universal form, and the leader of the universe with four heads. All these three are called Brahma. So they can be compared like that. The Viraja is the gross body of the Brahma. The Viraja is the gross body of Brahma. Hiranyagarbha is the subtle body of Brahma. And the four-headed Brahma is the Atma, Jivatma. So in that way. So Atma is Brahma, the four-headed Brahma himself. His subtle body is Hiranyagarbha. His gross body is Vairaja. And the Paramatma is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the original Paramatma. He manifested, expanded himself as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Both Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu are the Paramatma of this entire universal personality known as Brahma. So like that. So this is how Brahma suddenly appeared on top of the lotus. So now let us see some pictures. So this was Karnodakshaya Vishnu, who created unlimited Brahmandas, which are floating in the Karna ocean. So then this Karnodakshaya Vishnu, expanding himself as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, entered into each and every universe, which was nothing but the universal shell with an empty ball, a ball inside with empty voidness. So Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who is an expansion of Karnodakshaya Vishnu, entered into our universe. So this is Karnodakshaya Vishnu, this is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, entered into our
Krishna,
universe.
I can't hear. Is it with me only?
What about other devotees?
Yes, Prabhuji, we hear it properly.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We can hear.
But the
Mataji, problem is your side.
You log off and log in again, Mataji. So, Karnadaksha Vishnu was there, expanding himself as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, entered into each and every universe. So now he had entered into our universe, which is completely dark. After entering into here, he wanted to take rest. Then he created Garbhodaka ocean from his sweat water. The water has been created, occupied the lower half of the universe, and upper half of the universe is occupied by ether and air. There is ether and there is air in the upper half of the universe. In the bottom portion, there is water. And Garbhodaksha Vishnu entered into deep within the water. He created his own mahal and he began to take rest there. So Garbhodaksha Vishnu taking rest inside. Here he has a snake bed. He have Mother Lakshmi serving him, and many other expansions of Mother Lakshmi. They are there assisting Mother Lakshmi to serve the Lord. Some of them are singing, some of them are playing instruments, some of them are dancing, some of them are fanning, some of them are feeding tambula to Garbhodaksha Vishnu, like that. He's accepting their service. So then what happened? When the day of Brahma began to start, Garbhodaksha Vishnu looked into his own abdomen. Then from his navel there appeared a beautiful lotus. The lotus appeared on the upper part of the universe coming out of the water. So this lotus contained a lotus leaf, a lotus stem, and the flower. So this is what you see in the water pond. Everywhere in the water pond you see same thing. There is a lotus leaf and there is a stem and there is a flower. But beneath that, the stem goes down below and somewhere the roots are come to the source. The source is Garbhodaksha Vishnu. No one in the upper part of the universe can see Garbhodaksha Vishnu because inside the water within a mahal. Then Garbhodaksha Vishnu expanding himself, Aksharaksha Vishnu entered into the lotus as its Paramatma. Then Brahma appeared on top of it. So it is like that. So this is how the Brahma, the firstborn entity, appeared on top of the lotus. So this lotus, dividing which Brahma created the 14 planetary systems, that will be explained in the 10th chapter. That lotus is called as a grass universal form Vairaja. And all the living entities who will appear in this universe and perform activities, they all come into the called as Hiranyagarbha, the subtle universal form. And Lord Brahma, the Chaturmukha Brahma, is the Atma of the entire universe. And both Garbhodaksha Vishnu and Aksharaksha Vishnu are called as Paramatma of the entire universe. So this is one personality whom we call the Brahmanda Purusha, something like that. So this is how Brahma appeared within our universe. So any questions till now? Is it clear what has been presented?
Yes,
Prabhuji, I
Prabhuji.
have two questions.
One by one.
Prabhuji, the first question is this in the devastation water, how this water has come, where this come water?
The devastation water means this one. See, basically what happens now, I missed one point. So the one who is holding this Bhumandala, the Lord Sankarsana, he became angry, created 11 Rudras. The 11 Rudras opened their third eye, produced a lot of fire. That fire burnt all the living entities all over. The plants are burnt to ashes, our grass bodies are burnt to ashes, everything burnt to ashes. Afterwards, there is a huge rain. As a result of that rain, all these 14 planetary systems, they were submerged into Garbhodaka ocean. Everything went into Garbhodaka ocean and then eventually went into the abdomen of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So like that, it all happened.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. And second question is, Prabhuji, in the previous chapter or fifth or sixth, we have seen that this subtle form of when universe as a form, that time this demigod also appear in the subtle form, and then that time they pray to the Lord Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu. sorry, this Mahavishnu, they pray. So that time the in subtle form they prayed, but in this devastation, in this when this all these demigods, even the Brahma is also present in a subtle form, they are not able to pray. Am I right?
No, no, they
And
were
when this
not praying
Brahmaji
that time
appear,
in a
then
subtle
they
form.
pray to the
Wait. Kindly don't miss the point. They actually attained their gross bodies by the will of the Supreme Lord for temporarily for some time. They got their gross bodies and they offered prayers unto Karnodaksha Vishnu. Then their body disappears. All their bodies disappear.
Okay.
Then Mahavishnu enters into all the 24 elements and then combines them together and forms unlimited Brahmandas. So it is like that. Yeah, yes. In between, some Matajis were saying something.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, properly clear conception now. I was a bit confused between Garbhodaksha and Sankarshan. Now it's clear.
Yeah.
Hare.
So Lord Sankarsana, who was holding the Bhumandala, is different from this one. The snake bed of Garbhodakshana is different, and that person is different. Both of them are different. Yeah. So this is how he appeared. Yes, let us go on. So we have few minutes. I just want to discuss couple of verses before closing for today. And as I mentioned previously, next week mostly we will not be having class. And I mentioned that all of you have to give the exam for chapter 5, 6, 7, 8. So whatever will be covered today, till then, all of you supposed to give the exam in the next week. So in the next part, there are two sections. In one section, Lord Brahma will search for the source of that lotus, and then he performs tapasya, and then he will have darshan of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. That is one section. And the second section is the what kind of darshan Brahma had. The beauty of Garbhodaksha Vishnu is mentioned. That part will not cover today, but till the first section I will cover the next few minutes. And except that one question, all the remaining questions, all of you please answer in the next week. So for the next few verses, so no need to repeat after me. I will only recite the shloka and explain. Okay, just this one small section is there. We will discuss this for today. तस्यां शशाम्बोरुहकर्णिकायाम् अवस्थितो लोकमपश्यमानः परिक्रमन् व्योम्नि विवृत्तनेत्रश्चत्वारि लेभेनुदिशं मुखानि. It says that one interesting thing is mentioned here. Brahma, who situated just appeared on top of the lotus, he is situated in the center of the lotus, could not see the universe's planets. Basically, what happened? Yesterday evening, when he took all the residents of Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka into the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, at that time, still Brahma was looking at the planetary system. Satyaloka was there, the Tapaloka, Janaloka, Maharloka, they were there. He was able to see. But now he was not able to see. Because now just lotus appeared. He was not able to see any of them. So basically, he was looking in the front side, he was not able to see. So he thought maybe in the back side, right side, left side, they may be there. He wanted to see in all four directions. As soon as he desired, the four heads manifested so that he could see in all four directions simultaneously. He don't have to turn his face around to look whether this side is there, that side is there. As soon as he desired, four heads manifested. When he appeared from the lotus, he had only one head. But now when he desired to see in all four directions that something is there, the four heads manifested to Brahma. Situated there, he turned his head around to look for the planets and at the same time glance in all directions at the space because there was no one there. He obtained four heads to see the four directions together. So when he desired to turn around, before he could turn, the head already manifested on the right hand side. Then he desired to turn further, the head manifested behind. When he wanted to see on the left hand side, the head manifested on the left hand side. Like that, the four heads manifested to Brahma. Then what happened? But still, he could not see anything. Tasmad yuganta swashanavagurna जलोर्मिचक्रात् सलिलाद्विरूढम् उपाश्रितस्कञ्जम् उपाश्रिताकञ्जमुलोकतत्त्वम् नात्मानमध्वा विददाति देवः. It says that Brahma, taking shelter of the lotus, which sprouted from the water filled with whirlpools, did not at all understand the nature of the planets and the living entities. So, as far as Brahma's understanding that yesterday there are 14 planetary systems filled with lot of living entities, they were all there. Where are they gone now? He's only seeing the lotus which just manifested from the Garbhodaka ocean, and the ocean is full of turbulence. There's a lot of turbulence in the water of Garbhodaka ocean. So he's not able to understand where they have gone. Something like that. Brahma was bewildered about how to create what had been previously been created in order to show the people that his power to create the universe does not belong to him, but is given to him by the Lord. This is shown in this verse. So Brahma was bewildered in one sense. So where are the 14 planetary systems? Where are the living entities? Nothing is there. I only see the lotus and some water below, which is turbulent. So indirectly, Brahma want to show that whatever Brahma did, whatever creation Brahma did not do on his own. He did everything by the empowerment of Lord Vishnu. How did Brahma receive that empowerment? It is explained in this 8th chapter, 9th chapter, 10th chapter. 3 chapters will talk about Brahma's receiving that empowerment. He took shelter of the lotus. He took shelter of the lotus which arose from the water. So he looked in the 4 directions. He thought there is nothing seen, there is no use. So he wanted to go downward. So there could be something from which this lotus is coming. The particle U expresses astonishment. He did not know the nature of the planets or the living entities. The water had whirlpools churned by the wind of devastation. The whole night the water was turbulent only. That's what Brahma is seeing now. Then what happened? Brahma is contemplating now. Who am I sitting on top of this lotus? From where did this lotus arise? There is nothing else except the lotus in the water, but there must be something else below, which supports this lotus. Being intelligent, I can ascertain this much only. What Brahma is ascertaining? Brahma is saying that there is a lotus, I am there is some water below, and there is ether around me, some wind is there. That wind is the cause of the turbulence of the water. I can see only these 5 things. One is the lotus, second is himself, third is water, and it is turbulent. It has become turbulent because of the wind, and everything is there in the ether. Only these 5 things Brahma is able to see. And then he's inquiring, who am I? How come I appeared on the top of this lotus? What is this lotus? Where from it came? Like that is contemplating. In ignorance, Brahma asked these questions. Who is this on the top of lotus? From where did this lotus arise? There is nothing but this lotus. But certainly, there must be something below the lotus, which serve as the foundation for the lotus. There must be some source for the lotus. This has been ascertained by me, being intelligent. Brahma thinking that my intelligence can only understand this much, nothing more than this. The Shruti says, not seeing anything, Brahma remained on the lotus. He thought to himself, there must be something upon which this lotus is based upon. There must be some source from which this lotus is coming up. This is what Brahma is contemplating. In order to understand the source of that lotus, then Brahma enters into that the stem of the lotus and goes down below. There it is said that reflecting in this way, Brahma entered into the water by the tubes in the stem of the lotus, searching out the navel of Lord Vishnu, from which rose the stem of the lotus. But he could not reach it, though he approached close to it. So Lord Brahma entered into that lotus stem and going down below, he passed through all the stem and eventually entered into the stem further down below, like you see here. So this Brahma entered into the lotus, passing through the stem. He came all the way here. He went through the stem inside the Garbhodaka ocean also. He came all the way here, but still he could not understand who is the source of that lotus. He could not understand Garbhodaka Vishnu. He spent 100 years, according to our time calculation, to pass through this entire lotus, searching here, there, everywhere like that, all the way to come here and again to come back to the original point. He spent about 100 human years, that much time. Still, he could not understand the source of this lotus, that is Garbhodaka Vishnu. That is to indicate that with human endeavor, we may want to go to different planets and to the Lord also. But human endeavor alone does not allow us to come approach the Supreme Lord or anything in this world. It is only bhakti. When we execute bhakti, we can understand about who is who, what is what. So like that. That point will be understood. This verse shows that with the will of the Lord, all attempts by materialists will end in failure. Brahma entered into the water by the means of the tubes in the lotus stem. He searched out the lotus navel of Narayana, from which arose the stem of the lotus. Though he approached very close, he could not reach it, since it is impossible to reach without bhakti. It is difficult to go anywhere without bhakti. Only by bhakti one can attain whatever we want to attain. So like that. And then, oh Vidura, 100 years passed for Brahma, who was searching out his source in the unfathomable darkness. Time, the chakra of Lord Vishnu, which proclaims the approach of death for the embodied souls, destroys the lifespan. So Brahma was searching here, there, everywhere for 100 human years, which is the lifespan of Kali Yuga person. But Brahma could not find anything. So by the way, because that so much time has passed, the nature of time has been mentioned. Time, by the passage of day and night, will bring the death of each one of us. That means our lifespan of 100 years will be completed in the passage of time. So like that. So Trinemi means time. Time, proclaiming the approach of death for men, destroys lifespan of 100 years, the lifespan of humans in Kali Yuga. So basically, every year we celebrate happy birthday. At the celebration of happy birthday, we say that we wish you a very happy birthday, etc. etc. But actually, we should actually contemplate on that day. So by every passing of every year, at the celebration of every new birthday, we should understand that one valuable year in my lifespan has been reduced. It has been taken away. So we should actually feel sorry for that. So something like that. And then what happened? After searching for 100 years with an intention to understand the source of that lotus, Brahma understood there is no use. Giving up his search, Brahma, unfulfilled in his desire, then returned to the lotus, came to the top of the lotus. Gradually, controlling his breath and controlling his mind and senses, he remained steady in complete concentration by meditation on the Lord. He came to the top of the lotus and he began to meditate by controlling his senses and mind. One who gives up pride attains the Lord through meditation by Lord's will. Initially, Brahma thought that let me find out by my own endeavor. He tried for 100 years of human time period, but he failed. But when he came up, he understood that let me surrender to Lord. He surrendered to the Lord. And that will enable one to attain what he wants to attain. Giving up the search, he returned to the lotus and controlling his mind, sat down in Padmasan on the top of the lotus. Then he achieved complete concentration from meditation on the Supreme Lord. He came to the platform of Samadhi. eventually he will see the Supreme Lord by that execution of Bhakti. So same thing is mentioned in the 11th second canto. Second canto, 9th chapter, text number 6, it was mentioned there that. So what was mentioned there is what happened in the first day of Brahma. And what is mentioned now is what happened today. So what happened then? While Brahma was contemplating how to carry out the creation of the universe, after searching for the source of the lotus here and there, when he came to the top of the lotus, then he heard twice, 2 times, close by in the water, a word of 2 syllables, ta pa, like that he heard 2 times, composed of the 16th and the 21st sounds of the alphabets. Among the vowels, sparsha means not vowels, consonants. Of the consonants, 16th consonant and 21st consonant Brahma heard 2 times, ta and pa, tatta tadana papa papama, like that. So 16th one and 21st one he heard, which is the known as the wealth of the devotees who have no material desires. Nishkinchana dhana. Nishkinchananam dhanam. So basically, tapasya is the wealth of the materially impoverished devotees. So hearing those 2 syllables, Lord Brahma performed tapasya then. And now understanding that he has to perform tapasya, he is performing now. And this is the last verse today. For today, we will be closing with this verse. So what did he do tapasya? How long did he do tapasya? By his practice of meditation on the lotus and the Lord for 100 human years, he attained the realization of the Lord. He saw the Lord who manifested himself in his heart, who could not be seen previously by searching. So then he performed tapasya for 100 human years. Then, as a result of that long tapasya, the Supreme Lord appeared to Brahma. The Garbhodakshaya Vishnu appeared to Brahma. Purusha Yusha means by 100 years. This should be understood to be the time according to the calculations of human life in Kali Yuga, when Maitreya was speaking to Vidura. Because Maitreya was speaking to Vidura at the beginning of current Kali Yuga. So as per that, what would be the lifespan of the Kali Yuga people? That much time Brahma performed tapasya. Brahma performed tapasya for 100 years. So 100 human years he was searching for the source of the lotus. Then he gave up. Then he performed tapasya for 100 years. Then he had the darshan of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So how much time he performed tapasya in the first day of Brahma? In the first day of Brahma, Brahma, the best among the meditators, having fruitful vision, concentrating his mind, controlling his prana, senses, performed meditation, which would manifest all the abodes for 1,000 celestial years. Divyam Sahasrabdam. In the first day, Brahma performed 1,000 celestial years, Devata years. That means 1,000 into 360, 360,000. That means 3,60,000 years he performed tapasya then. But now, today, he just performed 100 years, by which he had darshan of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. By a mature state, reached through the meditation on the Lord, Brahma saw the Supreme Lord. So first Brahma sees the Supreme Lord within the core of his own heart. Then Brahma sees the Supreme Lord in front of his eyes. So what kind of darshan Lord Brahma had? That will be presented from text number 23 to 31. So that we will discuss in the next class. So Brahma saw the Lord who manifested himself within the heart of Brahma first, whom he could not see when he was searched previously for the foundation of the lotus abode. So the Lord whom he wanted to see previously by searching, he could not see. But now he saw the same Lord in the core of the heart. Later in 394, Brahma says that you have manifested this eternal personal form upon whom your devotees meditate. So first the same Supreme Lord appeared in the heart of Brahma, then he disappeared there, then he appeared in front of Brahma. So that will be mentioned. And what kind of darshan that Brahma had is mentioned in the next 9 verses, 23 to 31. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here and we'll continue what kind of darshan Lord had, or the Brahma had in the next class, whenever we will take. So
Next class is No, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Next class will be test morning.
See, so I'm supposed to travel next weekend. So if I'm traveling, there will be no class, but there is exam next Sunday.
Okay.
If I'm
So
not
timing will
traveling,
be given. Timings will be given, no, by
same time from
uploaded
11 to
question.
11 onwards.
Yeah. Say that question we have to study, the one which you had already sent on our group.
The question bank which I have sent on the group, that will be the
Huh.
exam question paper. And only this one question won't be there. That the darshan of Garbhodaksha Vishnu won't be there, except that question, remaining all will be there. You can write appropriately.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
That is
Hare
a
Krishna.
question bank. So from that you can.
I understood. Hare Krishna.
So any questions from other devotees based on what we discussed now? It's already 1:10.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the
Hare
choice
Krishna.
is there, no any 4 questions we have to answer.
Yes,
So
yes.
how many questions you will put? All the 7 questions or?
Yeah, more or less all the questions will be there except 1 or 2 questions. All questions will be there.